would like the comprehensive plan put it? I'd say take this whole section.
That's fine. Well, I haven't gotten to 3J yet, but
Do we expect Frank here tonight?
no. Establish a 6-year capital plan to ensure viability of the volunteer fire companies and work with them to address their long-term needs. That's something that we can actually do. We can work with them to establish But 3M is what I was talking about that should go because we've already hired a fire chief. So
Right.
3M is already there.
But the way that John Trent pointed out is, it's all right, you just checked it off. We've been working on this. You don't have to modify those things. This is the direction of the plan.
Eric, we understand that your position is to not modify the plan. We, as a majority of the board, that's what we're doing. We're going through the same way the planning commission went through and made changes, we are going through and making changes. We hear you.
Did you hear my statement though? John Trent said, great, you just checked one of those blocks off. You got an assistant manager, you did this or you did that.
And that's
So,
all we're
it's
doing.
nothing that has to be-
You're really checking, if I take it out, you're checking it off.
Does it need
That's
to-
all, it's not, it's, you're.
How much more are we gonna administratively be doing that? How many other times are we gonna do that?
Check things off?
Yeah,
I'm not sure, that's why we're going through the goals.
all right.
I mean, is there anything else that, Cindy, you mentioned, do you want any other goals in there under fire? Like you
I
said,
mean, we could say, like, we could spell out, like, as, and I, again, I don't know how you would word it, but like, you know, should we reach the point where we need to hire paid firemen or centralized, like, that can be in there, a centralized fire station can be in there.
the township should continue to review its need for potential paid fire force.
Yes, and
So
central.
we did have that in, right? It was modified since that last version.
That's the mission statement under the goal 3 heading. Cecil Township will actively explore methods of providing effective, long-standing public safety efforts that are fiscally responsible and ensure the health and
Well,
safety of
that's
the
not what
community.
that says to me then. To me, that says, like, we're gonna monitor it, but we can say under that specific overall
goal related to.
like, here's the subsection under that goal where it says, you know, should the volunteers no longer be a viable option?
Cindy, how about this then, if we just have, the goal 3 is it's written in black block, and then the strategy, work toward a unified fire department with paid staff. That's about all we're interested in. I mean, recruitment, as long as there's separate departments, that's up to them. I agree with you on that. Same thing with, right now, they're the ones that are buying fire trucks right now. We're not, but if we get to the point where we work towards a unified fire department, with paid staff, then obviously we're gonna be in the truck business then, but not until then. So to me, we should just have that one strategy, get rid of all this, and
Yep.
it's a simple sentence.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I got it.
John's right, like, we don't need to establish a capital improvement plan for volunteers, like, that's the big difference.
That's how it left the comprehensive plan. And then we did make some changes, right? That was one of the changes.
A majority of the board is in favor of making Tom's suggested changes, axe this, and then this happens.
Am I at least allowed, do we have a version that came from the comprehensive plan by chance? Do you know how, just that one topic, do you know how that was addressed, it was shot down? I mean, you changed it away, now you're changing it back.
Okay, I got you. I got that.
Let's move on, because we're gonna be here all night if we argue going backwards. All right, moving on. 4.
Okay, 4 is to construct and manage supporting infrastructure. Cecil Township will effectively plan for future improvements to its transportation, sewer and water infrastructure to meet the needs of its current community as well as its existing neighborhoods. I create a capital improvements plan for all capital projects across the township, include projected costs for associated projects. And that's a good, I mean, having a capital project list, even if you don't use it every year, I mean, I see communities that you develop a big list, you look at it annually, you update it, and then when the board comes to budget time, you pick off what you want. I mean, if you can, you know, what you can afford to do. And that's a typical function as you grow as a community, you'll have those capital needs.
Right, that's general, the next one is not.
Yeah, that's specific, I mean, the transportation impact fee, I mean, I think we're pretty far down the path now, but, I mean, North Strabane just decided to jump into it recently. You know, you can develop impact fees to support the improvement of roads, but the lesson in this is that if you do that, if you have existing intersections that are already problematic, you can't assign the money to fix things that are already bad, only the impact of the development on that intersection.
So then why would we want this in there?
It's your choice. I mean, typically, you know, places like Cranberry has it, North Springs getting it. I just saw one for, who else has it? Collier Township has it in Allegheny County. I mean, it's a way to address deficiencies. Like for instance, if there would have been an impact fee in place, there could have been a planned light for Muse Bishop Road and Route 50, right? We know it's going to need one at some point in time. I don't know when that is, but it's going to happen at some point. So if McCall Trails came in and it was contributing trips to that, it would pay its proportionate share of trip costs related to that improvement. So I don't know what the number would be, just pick something out, but most of those fees are like, you know, $1,000 a lot or something like that goes into a fund that's used for those improvements that the township takes on when the time is necessary to do it.
We're allowed to apply them to a state project?
I mean, you own all the traffic signals, you know, you're gonna own it anyway. There's a certain point in time where there has to be work done on state roads that the state's not gonna fund, but you can fund them, you know, if you have an impact fee in place. That's just one example.
But in lieu of that, aren't we basically just like McCollum's Trails? They're repaving the whole road.
We negotiated that through the PRD.
Yeah.
This would be separate, you say, that'd be
I
separate.
know, I understand
But are
that.
they less likely, like Ron's saying, are they less likely to negotiate something like that with us because they're gonna turn around and say to us, well, you're already getting $1,000 a lot for.
Right, for transportation improvements. Like probably in a transportation impact fee study, McConnell Road is a feeder road to the township, right? So it would probably be in there to upgrade McConnell Road to township standards at some point in time. Curves, drainage, full width. So in theory, you're right, saying that they would say that, hey, we're paying our transportation impact fees, we don't have to do other work. So that's, if we continue to want to move along with the negotiations on the PRDs, that's whatever the board wants to do. I will tell you that these studies are expensive to do. And again, as we said, we looked at them, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, but wasn't there a cost, I mean,
Sure.
we have to use it a certain amount of time, or we have to give it back? What was that, you told us something about that? If it's not used for that project? I heard something.
I can't remember that part of it. I just remember that I think the big issue the board had at that time was that anything existing that had, already was a problem, we couldn't use this money for, and we would have to agree to, do those on township dollars.
That's what it was. If they gave us a little bit towards fixing, say, that intersection down there, if it was gonna be a lot more, and PennDOT wasn't going to do, we'd have to make the difference to use their little bit to fix that, to use their money to fix that
But look
project.
the other way now, Ryan's gonna pay for Burnstide's
Yep. Well,
and that, McCall.
I think for now, we should just eliminate it.
I do too. I think it's gonna end up being more problems than it's helpful.
And our problems are on state roads mostly.
Can you see us using it in 10 years though? Can you see us, just leaving it there, or if it's something that, just like the fire department, maybe paid fire department in 10 years?
Okay, wait a minute, here's our recall now, Dan. With McConnell Trails, now if they complete their development, completely done, and whatever impact they're having on that intersection, the next developer, if we would have it then, we could never, we're already stuck with the McConnell Trail because they're in. It's just new development. So I guess that was the quandary we faced is, at what point are we going to fix it up and spend our money that what the developer's given us?
Correct.
and most of the projects seemed like they were just so exorbitantly expensive to fix like an intersection like that for the few dollars we get out of the developer.
Well, I mean, so the devil's in the detail. You have to go through and you have to really study the township, determine what all the improvements are going to cost, and then allocate the port. That's where you need a transportation person to say, so many trips are going to go here from this property and that property, and then they're assigned. So those costs, it's a cost based upon what the cost of the improvement is, less what the township's current impact is.
So we can do that anyhow, that's in the MPC, I mean, in the code, so we can address it some other time.
I think it just needs to get figured out.
Take it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I say leave it in. You're saying take that, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, adopt an official map, goal number strategy 4L, adopt an official map to lay out future road connections, trail routes, advancing the community's current transportation system, and ensuring proper use for land use infrastructure needs.
How would we even do that? Because how do you know where roads and stuff are gonna go if you don't know where the development is gonna
Well, again, an official map is kind of, it's called out in the and again, in the municipality's planning code, you can adopt an official map. The advantage to that, of having an official map, is that you can kind of dictate what developers can do, as opposed to them coming in and saying what they want to do. So if I'm just trying to give an example, if there was some sort of a road improvement that wanted to be done along this portion of property that they own, you could require them to do it. It's just another way to kind of show where infrastructure is going to be necessary to incorporate this map.
But if you would have said, I guess my.
It's just a map. I mean, it's not a,
I understand that, but like if we adopt something like that, my concern is if the developer comes in with, let's just say they have a better idea or a better plan, and we are committed to this map, I feel like it opens us up to have issues in the future where people are gonna say, hey, you're letting that developer do that, but your map says this. I just don't know that any of us, I mean, Tom and Ron are kind of the exception, but like, any of us have the expertise to be able to do a map like that.
right. Again, it can be eliminated. I'm just trying to give you an explanation.
Dan, what we also need, a lot of the infrastructure would be based on a municipal authority.
Yeah.
Like, where's their, I'd like to know what their plans are as far as putting sewage in. I mean, other than Hill Station, do they plan on going anywhere else?
All of their infrastructure, their current policy is developer driven, that's it. They're not, I don't know that they're advancing anything more than servicing the existing needs with their own source.
Well, Ron's right though, like what if we make an infrastructure map that doesn't match what the developer-driven municipal authority plan is and I just don't think that that's something that.
Again, if you were doing that map, the first step you do is meet with the municipal authority, you're right, Ron, that's a good point. So you know what their plan is and kind of incorporate it in. But again, not everybody has an official map in a township, you don't have to have it. I think this is sort of like for a developing municipality, I'll call it for instance, it's a typical goal, but you don't have to have it.
I don't know, I don't think it's, we're gonna take it out.
Yeah.
Take it out.
I think we leave it because the comprehensive plan has this.
So for the,
Tom, do you?
No, I think we should get rid of it.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for the stormwater item we wanted to address, it looks like 4F has identified areas where stormwater mitigation and the preservation of environmentally sensitive areas may be effective. Are you gonna expand on that?
We don't have I don't have a 4F.
It's in the table. It's not detailed, there's no paragraph for it, but it's in
No,
the.
I see what
You
you're
know what I
saying.
mean?
What's highlighted on that table are actually,
So, you know how we said expand on stormwater management, maybe you can put it under 4F.
Yeah.
we'll put it in under 4F.
Yeah.